3 seconds. That is all that remains on the clock. 67,000 fans are screaming so loud that players cannot hear themselves think. The Kansas City Chiefs are celebrating on their sideline because they believe they have just defeated their most hated rival. And standing on a frozen football field, preparing to attempt a 48-yard field goal that will determine everything, is a man who should not even be playing professional football. He's 43 years old. His hair is gray. His legs ache from 2 decades of punishment. Every medical expert in the country would tell you that a man his age has no business being on an NFL field. But the ball is snapped, his foot connects, and 67,000 voices go silent. That kick is just the beginning. Over the next 4 weeks, this same man will do the impossible 4 more times. He will save his team from defeat with seconds remaining. He will throw touchdown passes that defy logic. He will kick field goals that defy physics. He will become the most clutch performer in the history of professional sports. 5 consecutive weeks, 5 consecutive miracles, 5 consecutive moments where one man refused to let his team lose. And when it was over, the entire sports world asked the same question. How? How does a 43-year-old backup become the most valuable player in professional football? How does a man 2 decades past his prime deliver performances that younger players cannot match? I am going to answer those questions tonight. I am going to take you inside each of those 5 games and show you exactly what happened. But I need to warn you about something first. This story is not really about football. It is about what happens when everyone counts you out. It is about proving that age is a number, not a limitation. It is about one man showing the entire world that greatness does not expire. By the end of this video, you will understand why this 5-week stretch represents the most remarkable individual performance in NFL history, and you will never think about what is possible the same way again. Before I take you to those 5 miraculous weeks, you need to understand who George Blanda was before he became a legend. George Blanda was born in 1927 in a small coal mining town in Pennsylvania. His father worked in the mines. His family had nothing. The idea that young George would someday play professional football seemed impossible. But Blanda had something that circumstances could not suppress. He had an absolute refusal to accept limitations. In 1949, the Chicago Bears drafted him. For 10 years, he toiled as a backup quarterback and kicker. Most players would have accepted their role and moved on. George Blanda was not most players. In 1960, at age 33, when most athletes contemplate retirement, Blanda joined the Houston Oilers of the newly formed American Football League. Over the next 4 seasons, he led Houston to back-to-back championships. He became one of the biggest stars in professional football. He proved that the NFL had wasted his prime years. But time catches everyone. By 1966, Blanda was 39 years old. Houston released him, assuming his career was finally over. The Raiders disagreed. Al Davis saw something in Blanda that other teams missed. He saw experience that could not be taught. He saw a competitive fire that had not dimmed. He saw a weapon that could be deployed when younger players would crumble. Davis signed Blanda as a backup quarterback and kicker. For 4 years, Blanda served faithfully. He kicked field goals. He occasionally threw passes when needed. Most men his age were sitting in offices counting down to retirement. George Blanda was sitting on a bench, watching, waiting, preparing for a moment that might never come. And then came October 1970. The Raiders were one of the best teams in professional football, but their starting quarterback, Darryl LaMonica, was injured. His shoulder was affecting his throws. The Raiders faced a brutal stretch of schedule with their most important player compromised. Nobody expected their 43-year-old backup to become the most valuable player in America. Nobody expected what was about to happen. Week 7, October 25, 1970. Pittsburgh Steelers at Oakland Raiders. The game is a disaster. LaMonica cannot generate rhythm. The offense sputters. Pittsburgh takes control. With the Raiders trailing and momentum firmly on Pittsburgh's side, head coach John Madden makes a decision that will change NFL history. He sends in George Blanda. The Oakland crowd does not know how to react. They see a 43-year-old man jogging onto the field to rescue their season. Some fans cheer out of respect. Others wonder if their coach has lost his mind. What they witness over the next 2 quarters defies explanation. Blanda takes command with authority that silences all doubts. He begins dissecting Pittsburgh's defense with surgical precision. First touchdown pass, a strike over the middle that the Steelers never anticipate. Second touchdown pass, a perfectly placed ball to the corner of the end zone. Third touchdown pass, a demonstration of timing and accuracy that makes Pittsburgh's coordinator question everything. 3 touchdowns from a 43-year-old backup against one of the better defenses in the AFC. Final score, Oakland 31, Pittsburgh 14. The sports world takes notice, but assumes this is a one-time occurrence. A 43-year-old cannot sustain this level of performance. They are wrong. Week 8, November 1st, 1970. Oakland Raiders at Kansas City Chiefs.
The Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champions. Their home stadium holds 67,000 fans who despise the Raiders with genuine hatred. This is not just a game. This is war between 2 franchises that would rather lose to anyone else than lose to each other. The game is brutal and physical. With time expiring, Kansas City leads 17-14. The Raiders have the ball at midfield with seconds remaining. John Madden sends in Blanda for a 48-yard field goal attempt. In 1970, 48 yards was considered nearly impossible. Kickers routinely missed from 40 yards. The idea that a 43-year-old could convert from that distance with the game on the line against the defending champions seemed absurd. George Blanda does not care about absurdity. The snap is perfect. The hold is clean. Blanda's leg swings through with a motion perfected over 2 decades. The ball rises into the November sky. It travels toward the goalposts. 67,000 fans hold their breath. Good. 48 yards, game tied. The Raiders escape with a 17-17 draw. 2 consecutive weeks, 2 consecutive saves. The nation is beginning to pay attention. But surely this cannot continue. The odds against one player saving his team 3 consecutive times are astronomical. George Blanda does not believe in odds. Week 9, November 8th, 1970. Cleveland Browns at Oakland Raiders. The Browns have one of the best defenses in the AFC. With less than 2 minutes remaining, Cleveland leads 20-13. The Raiders appear finished. John Madden sends in Blanda. 94 seconds remain. 80 yards separate the Raiders from the end zone. No timeouts. The situation is hopeless. Unless you are George Blanda. He moves the offense methodically down the field. Short passes, precise throws, clock management reflecting 21 years of experience. Every decision is correct. Every throw is purposeful. With 34 seconds remaining, the Raiders face 3rd down at the Cleveland 14-yard line. Blanda takes the snap. He finds Warren Wells breaking toward the corner of the end zone. The throw is perfect. Wells catches it. Touchdown. Blanda kicks the extra point himself. 20-20. Tie game. But 34 seconds still remain. Cleveland punts. The Raiders have the ball with seconds left. On the final play, a Cleveland penalty gives Oakland one more untimed down. From the Cleveland 45-yard line, Blanda attempts a 52-yard field goal. In 1970, only a handful of kickers had ever converted from 52 yards. The distance was considered beyond reliable range. George Blanda converts. Raiders win, 23-20. Blanda has now saved them 3 consecutive weeks. Every sports page in America features stories about the 43-year-old who refuses to age. Television networks adjust coverage to capture whatever Blanda does next. People who have never cared about football suddenly care about George Blanda. and he is not finished. Week 10, November 15th, 1970. Denver Broncos at Oakland Raiders. The game remains close throughout. With 4 seconds remaining, the score is tied 19-19. The Raiders have the ball at the Denver 35-yard line, another 52-yard field goal attempt, the exact same distance as last week. The pressure would crush most athletes. The expectation would paralyze most competitors. But George Blanda has spent 43 years preparing for moments exactly like this one. Blanda approaches the kick with the same calm that has defined his entire streak. He does not appear nervous. He appears like a man doing exactly what he was born to do. The snap arrives. The hold is positioned. Blanda's leg swings through with a motion perfected over 2 decades. Good. Raiders win, 24-19. 4 consecutive weeks, 4 consecutive miracles. George Blanda has become the most famous athlete in America. Children who have never watched football beg their parents to let them see what the old man will do next. And there is one more week, one more chance for destiny to complete its work.
Week 11, November 22nd, 1970. San Diego Chargers at Oakland Raiders. The Chargers have watched the same highlights everyone else has watched. They are determined to end the streak. They have game planned specifically to prevent Blanda from having another opportunity. For most of the game, San Diego executes perfectly. They build a lead, they control the clock, they limit Oakland's chances. With 7 seconds remaining, the Chargers lead 17-14. The Raiders are at the San Diego 20-yard line. Time for one play. Everyone expects another field goal attempt, another chance to tie. But John Madden sees something different. He sees a defensive alignment that can be exploited. He calls for a pass play. The decision is insane. A field goal ties the game. A failed pass ends the season. Madden is risking everything on his 43-year-old quarterback making a perfect throw. George Blanda takes the snap with 7 seconds on the clock. The pocket collapses immediately. Chargers defenders are closing. Blanda moves right. He looks downfield. Fred Biletnikoff is running toward the corner of the end zone. The throw must be perfect. Any mistake means defeat. The streak ends. The fairy tale concludes without a happy ending. George Blanda releases the football with the calm of a man who has been preparing for this exact moment for 43 years. The ball spirals through the air. Biletnikoff adjusts. The throw arrives at the precise instant the receiver reaches the precise location. Touchdown. Raiders win 20-17. 5 consecutive weeks, 5 consecutive game-saving performances, 5 consecutive miracles delivered by a 43-year-old man the world had counted out. The streak is complete. Let me tell you what those 5 weeks meant in the context of NFL history. No player before or since has saved his team 5 consecutive weeks in the final seconds. No player has demonstrated clutch performance at that level for that duration. No player has defied age and expectation so completely. George Blanda won the NFL Player of the Year award for 1970 at 43 years old. A backup quarterback and kicker was named the best player in professional football. This was not a sympathy award. This was acknowledgement that what Blanda had done transcended anything the sport had ever witnessed. He had done the impossible, not once, not twice, 5 consecutive times, when everyone expected him to fail. He succeeded anyway. Now I need to tell you why this story matters beyond football. George Blanda was supposed to be finished. The world had decided his time had passed. Younger players were faster, stronger, more athletic. The future belonged to them. Blanda disagreed. He did not accept the limitations others placed on him. He did not believe that age determined capability. He refused to become what everyone expected a 43-year-old to become. And for 5 glorious weeks, he proved that expectations are prisons only if you choose to live inside them. Think about your own life. Think about the limitations others have placed on you. Too old, too young, too inexperienced, too set in your ways. Those limitations are lies. George Blanda proved they are lies every single Sunday for 5 consecutive weeks. He continued playing until he was 48 years old. He retired in 1976 as the oldest player in NFL history. He finished with over 2,000 points scored, a record that stood for decades. He played in a record 340 games across 4 different decades of professional football. But the statistics do not capture what George Blanda represented. He represented defiance against decline. He represented the refusal to accept that greatness has an expiration date. He represented the belief that your best moments might still be ahead of you, regardless of what the calendar says. George Blanda passed away in September 2010 at age 83. He lived long enough to see his legacy secured and his story told to new generations. But the legend of those 5 weeks in 1970 will outlive all of us. It will inspire athletes who feel their best years are behind them. It will remind everyone that the impossible is only impossible until someone refuses to accept it. 3 seconds remained when George Blanda kicked that field goal against Kansas City. 3 seconds separated him from defeat, from anonymity, from being forgotten. He used those 3 seconds to become immortal. What will you do with your 3 seconds? If this story moved you, if it made you believe that your best days might still be ahead, then subscribe to this channel right now. We do not just tell Raiders history here. We tell stories that change how you see yourself, stories that prove what humans can accomplish when they refuse to surrender to expectation. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who has been told they are too old, someone who has been told their time has passed, someone who needs to know what George Blanda did at 43 years old. Comment below with your age and what you still plan to accomplish. Let us build a community of people who refuse to accept expiration dates on their dreams. George Blanda saved the Raiders 5 consecutive weeks because he believed he could, because he prepared every day like he would need to play, because when his moment came, he was ready. Are you ready for your moment? The clock is running. The game is on the line. Everyone is watching. George Blanda answered that question at 43 years old. Now it is your turn. 5 weeks, 5 miracles, 1 man who refused to accept that his story was over, and a lesson that will last forever.